they only need enough money to like pay their rent and have enough leave for the next day. And then like if they don't, then they don't want to work anymore. Than that.
Like, I'm out. I'm
And
tapped
you're just
out.
like, come on, I need you guys to work.
So, Alex, I was reminiscing. I don't know why I was reminiscing about military days. Maybe because we talked about it.
Because our life sucks right now.
Yeah. I was like, I want to go back into the military, maybe.
Oh.
I know.
Really?
I feel like
for your cush job.
Yeah, I feel like when I was in, I was like, get me out as fast as I can. And then now I'm like, oh, can I just go back to this? But no, I was also, our guest today actually is a friend of ours for a while. We knew about it after, but we were in the military at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought I had like one foot out the door the fastest out of anyone I knew.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think that was always my plan.
You're not very
Regardless,
committed.
if I could go back, I probably would have taken more advantage of what it had to offer. But I think in the moment, I could have been better, right? Could have been a better officer.
Yeah.
But our buddy Josh actually had started a practice while he was still active duty and did a startup while he was doing it. So
Is that like a no-no?
I think so. You know, like one other person who might have done it. Josh can tell us in a minute. But I wanted to bring him on because the other really cool thing is we've been, friends for years. We went through the whole breakaway courses together, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Did startups around the same time. And one cool thing is a couple of years ago, or a few years ago, maybe by now, he ventured a little bit off of dentistry, still does it, but also started a restaurant and like pickleball center, like a all-in-one place, which seems really cool.
Yeah.
So I figured we could bring him on just because I feel like we have so many questions on like, is this worse than dentistry? Is it the same? Like, what sucks? How is all? So I think it'd be fun to bring him on. So thanks for coming on, Josh.
Heck yeah, guys! Thanks for having me.
Nice. So can you tell? Okay, so I know a little bit of the story, but going back on the military stuff, when did you do a startup? Like, was it like your second year in, third year in? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I had pretty much a year left when I broke ground on the practice, but I had been planning it for a year before that. But yeah, so I broke ground. I still had a year left, and I had saved up all my leave. You know, you get, I don't know how I don't remember how it works, but you get a certain number of leave days every month or something. And I had
we got a lot. I don't know, like, yeah,
you get a ton of leave, and so I had just saved it up for that last year.
Did you end up getting in trouble, or like what ended up happening?
So I tried to be super honest and straightforward with it. I went to you have like an OIC over your clinic or whatever. So I went to him and I was like, hey, I'm getting out. I actually wanted to stay in the military for 20 years. And that was like my original goal, was I was just going to do that. But then like I had applied to like a residency and they said no. And then I had applied to the second year. I applied again and they said no. And so I was like, well, F you guys, man. I'm not going to stay in if you guys, I want to go do fun stuff. I don't just want to be a dentist. I want to go shoot guns and stuff. Like, let me do fun stuff. And so after they wouldn't let me do any fun stuff, they were just like, no, you just drill on teeth. I was like, okay, well, I can drill on teeth outside of the military. So I went to my OIC and I was like, hey, I'm getting out, in a year. I want to start a practice from scratch. I had gone to a breakaway course, and that was just something that I'd always wanted to do. And so I asked the OIC, I was like, hey, I want to start a practice, but I want to start it before I get out, so that way, like, I can build up clients and slowly before I get out. So like, at least I've built it up and now it can be self-sustaining. So he was like, okay, yeah, just, write something up and send it up to headquarters. And so I did all that. And I wrote him an email and I said, yeah, hey, I'm planning on getting out. I'd like to, start a practice, and I want to take like 1 day off a week from the military for the last like 9 months that I'm out, and just work that practice like that 1 day, and then work 1 day on the weekends. And he was like, okay, yeah, we'll just go ahead and clear it. Just make sure that it works with your clinic and you can do it. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so I did that. And then I ended up, I submitted all my leave forms, like, because you can only go week by week. So I had to submit like 100 leave forms because there's
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was not a really easy, like submitting leave was not efficient, which is pretty much true in anything in the government. It's just not efficient. But yeah, that would suck.
So I submitted all the leave forms. I had told them, this is exactly what I plan to do. Well, and then so we broke ground in June, and then in September, like mid-September, I opened up the doors. And, in Breakaway, they teach you, I send out 10,000 flyers, like on, like 3 different months, we sent out 10,000 flyers. And then what happened was, and my face was all over him. Well, what happened was one of the oral surgeons, actually it wasn't even an oral surgeon, one of the dental assistants got my flyer in the mail. And then she brought it in to show everybody. And well, one of the oral surgeons got a hold of it, and then he took it to the commander and was like, hey, did you know about this? And so that was October 31st, Halloween Day. I got called in. He's like, you're under investigation for owning your own dental practice. I was like, guys, I told you I was going to, and you've already approved my leave for the next 8 months. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
And I had approved it with my clinic, and I said, hey, I'll do whatever you guys want to do. Do you want me to just do exams? I won't even do dentistry because they like, there's at times where you're just doing exams all day and you're not actually even drilling, like, because they like have groups that are like just pushed in and you're just like exam after exam. I was like, I'll do whatever the clinic wants of me if I can just have that one day off a month. And then we had like a flex schedule. So like we would also have like every other Friday off too. Did you guys have that?
No, we didn't have a flex schedule because I was on a Marine base, right? I think weren't you Blue Side? So ours was different. Ours was just, we got extra days when it was like holidays.
Yeah, we got those too. But anyway, so I was like, what are you talking about? You already knew that. I admitted that. And he said some analogy like, you asked me if you could go to Starbucks. You didn't say you wanted to go to Starbucks in Seattle. He's like, you just asked me if you could go to Starbucks. And I said, yeah. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So he's like, you can't practice inside or outside of the Army until this investigation's over.
Whoa.
Okay. So that night I'm like shitting my pants. And the practice was doing so well that I had only equipped 4 ops at first. And then the practice was doing so well that first month that I was like, okay, I'm going to order all the rest of the ops. I'm going to upgrade the panel to make it a CT. So I just put in like a $140,000 order for other equipment so I could outfit the whole thing. So that day I like called Henry Schein back, and I effing hate those guys now because of this. But I called Henry Schein back because it was like the day before. I was like, okay, yeah, let's order it. And then I called back the next day. I was like, hey, can we cancel this order? Like, I'm getting screwed right now. And they're like, nope, we can't unless you want the restock fee. I'm like, dude, I'm never ordering anything from you guys ever again. Fuck it. I'll give me the order, but don't ever expect another dime from me.
Wow.
And then I went to my buddy and I was like, hey, dude, the Army's screwing me over. Like, is there any way that you could help? I asked 2 dentist buddies of mine, freaking super awesome guys. Both of them were like, we'll help you. We'll do whatever you need. Like, and so they came and they worked in the dental practice because I only was open 2 days. So they would come on their days off and see my patients. Well, they told me I couldn't practice dentistry, but they didn't say I couldn't still work there. So I went and ran the front desk. I'd end up having to fire the first front desk lady that I had. And so I went and worked the front desk. I still had the days off from the Army. And so I went and would work the front desk, say hi to all the patients, tell them what was going on. And then on my days I was in the Army, they wouldn't let me do any dentistry. So I just learned how to run a practice and learned how to bill insurance. And I would log into the computers at my office and just submit insurance paperwork and stuff. So they kind of did me a favor.
Well, yeah, maybe like a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I mean, that sucks. Like, especially with a brand new office and you have so much stress and you can't even, your hands are tied, right?
Yeah, so I think next time someone like bitches or complains about like their situation's tough, it's like, oh no, it could be worse, and you got through it, right? Which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was October 31st all the way till February. It took, and the only thing that ever came out of it were they're like, oh, you forgot to fill out this piece of paper. Fill out this piece of paper, and then you can go back to work. At both places.
Yeah, that just seems pretty like spot on with military with certain stuff. Yeah.
Because I tried to be above board on all of it.
So at least at least you weren't in like military jail for a while. I mean, were you freaking out at first like, holy crap, they're gonna throw me in military jail, or they're gonna do something, or I'm gonna get dishonorably discharged? Like, were they threatening that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. You're just scared in the military because you're like, oh, they could just take your whole life away. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to talk with like JAG officers and stuff like that. But the lady that interviewed me was another a doctor who was doing the investigation, and I just was like, yeah, here's all the paperwork. I literally asked them, and it was just like this moonlighting paper, and I had filled out this piece of paper, but then it was like, you need a signature it was like for permission to moonlight, right? So it's like, okay, get this piece of paper and then have it filled out by the doctor who's over you. And I was like, I got to that part, I was like, oh shit, I don't know how to fill this out. And then with everything else that goes on with starting a practice, I just like forgot about it. And then they're like, okay, just fill it out. And I just put my name on it and then turned it in, and they're like, okay, you're good to go.
Jeez. Yeah, it's like, thanks for that ulcer.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. But my two buddies that helped me out and came, they wouldn't let me pay them.
Oh, wow.
They were super nice. Like it was incredible. Those guys, man, they saved my butt.
Yeah.
And it's like, so 10 years later, right? I mean, that was geez.
Yeah.
I know it's been a bit. Or no, that's less than that, because we graduated. Did you graduate the same year we did? Did you graduate 2013 from dental school?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So that would have been like, it's been almost, I guess, 9 years since then, probably when you broke ground on it. Yeah. That time flies.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow. So then fast forward.
Yeah. It was 2016.
So then what happened with your practice? So now you're able to work, and you, how many ops do you had now? You had like what, 8 or something like that?
I have 7. Yeah.
7. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just kept growing and growing, and now it's easy. It's the easiest thing I have. I have no headaches there. It's like I have a good staff now, which took a while. We were doing 3 days, 7 to 7. And then, when I opened up 23 Kitchens, the restaurant and pickleball place, I changed my hours to 7 to 3, 4 days a week. And that's been incredible. I don't know how I even worked 7 to 7.
I know. That always happens when you look back at it, right? You're like, when you're in it, it's like, you don't look anywhere else. You're just like eye on the ball. You have to do it. And then you look back and you're like, man, I guess it worked. Like, you just had to do it. There was no way out.
And we were I think both of our practices, right? Because it was kind of what was recommended in that like breakaway style, was like open 3 days a week, 7 to 7 long hours for patients. And then, I don't know, for us, we're still open 3 days a week, long days, but we switched from Fridays to Thursdays, because, at first it's like, oh, be open Friday evenings, but then like no one wanted to come in on a Friday evening. And then we switched to a Thursday, and our whole team is like happier because of that. But that's so then, is it just you practicing there, or do you have associates?
It's just me. The worst part about running any business, I feel like, is the employees, and I don't want to freaking have any more headache. I can just
you're like, I'm good where I'm at. This is fine.
Have 2 dental assistants. I don't want to brag, but I have 4 hygienists.
Whoa.
And
nice.
2 dental assistants and 1 front desk, and it's like, it's perfect.
Nice. So then so then tell us the story of how you went from startup dentist, having that, and you're like, all right, let's do a restaurant in a pickleball facility. Like, how did that happen? So, like, in 2020, I just had a ton. I live right next to like this huge retirement community, like a 55 and older community, and I just had a ton of patients coming in saying,
hey, we just got done playing pickleball, or hurry up because I'm going to go play pickleball. I was like, what the hell is pickleball? I've never heard of pickleball at all. And so I had called. So after that had kept happening, I called my friend who lives in Wichita. He's an endodontist in Wichita. Shout out to Jacob. He's an endodontist in Wichita, and he's like, I was like, have you ever heard of pickleball? We were just shooting the shit, and I was like, have you ever heard of pickleball? He's like, oh, we have this place in town called Chicken and Pickle, and it has indoor and outdoor pickleball courts, and they have a stage, and there's live music there on the weekends, and we go and hang out, and the kids run around, and it's a super fun place. He's like, you should look it up. And so I looked it up online, and they had like an aerial overview of the property, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And I would love to have something like this up in Washington, because in Washington, summers are the best in the country. I'll put it up against anything. Like Washington summers is like perfect weather. It's like 80 degrees, sunny all day. The sun comes up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and doesn't set till like 10 p.m. It's just the best. So anyway, nothing ever really came of it. And then I had a buddy who a mutual friend called me one night, like in the middle of the night. It was like, I don't know, I just got off work, so it was like 8 o'clock at night. And he says, hey, my buddy just went snowmobiling. This was like in January, February of 2021, I think. And he's like, my buddy just got done snowmobiling and he cut his leg open, and he doesn't want to go to the ER because it was like in the middle of COVID. And he's like, can you stitch him up? And I was like, yeah, bring him down to the office. I'll meet you back down to the office and I'll stitch his leg up. And he had a gash. He had a gash in his leg like this long. And so I get out the anesthetic and jab it into his leg and then stitch him up. And then he tried to pay me. I was like, don't pay me, but it's kind of bullshit that you guys just went snowmobiling all day without me and then call me to come fix up your leg. Like next time you go snowmobiling, you got to invite me. So a couple weeks later, he's like, hey, we're going snowmobiling. You want to go? And I was like, yes. So on the way up there, it's like a 2-hour drive to get to the snow from here. And on the way up there, I just asked him, I was like, hey, do you know what pickleball is? Have you ever played it? He's like, oh yeah, I play every day. I was like, oh, sweet. I have this idea of building this restaurant and bar, and it has a bunch of pickleball courts. You should check it out. It's called Chicken and Pickle. And so then we went snowmobiling and didn't talk more about it really. And then the next morning, he had looked it up that night, and the next morning he calls me and said, hey, we're going to build this. I was like, okay, let's make it happen. So we started looking at properties and stuff like that. And then we found kind of everything kind of fell into place. We just found this kind of like perfect spot right off a new exit. They just put like $1 billion into this new interchange in town, and there's like super high visibility spot that's like super easy to get to. And so yeah, the 23 Kitchens was born.
Wow.
Nice. So, okay. So you have a couple partners in there with you. All right. So, all right. What are the biggest differences between dentistry and then
or like owning a practice?
Yeah. Owning a practice versus like owning a restaurant.
I don't know. Where do I start, man? Owning a restaurant is tough. One of the main things is like when you're a dentist, like people don't know whether you do good dentistry or bad dentistry, really, right? But everybody's a food critic.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they know what good food tastes like, or thinks that they can make, the best food in the world. And so just the reviews that come in, like, I have like 5 1-star reviews from pissed off patients at my dental practice, but then like every week I get a 1-star review at the restaurant, and they're like, some people are like, oh, the fries didn't have any seasoning on them, and then the next person's like, the fries are too salty, or like, just like all this like.
So did you have to do you have to wear like all the hats though? So like in dentistry, like you said, you're like, I had to learn, how to bill. I had to learn how to do this.
Yeah,
I do insurance. I do the dentistry. In a restaurant too, were you back there cooking in the beginning or not?
No, I always hired people, but it's so different in like that in the restaurant world, because the people are just like, it's a different breed of human. Like, I don't know. It would be like, I don't know. I guess it would be like your whole business is ran by like a sterile tech.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, like you get a sterile tech in your office and they don't hardly know anything. Well, that's like everybody in the restaurant industry is like, they don't want to come to work. They only need enough money to like pay their rent and have enough leave for the next day. And then like, if they don't, then they don't want to work anymore. Than that.
Like, I'm out. I'm tapped out.
Like, come on, I need you guys to work.
So then did you or your partners, like the kind of the general manager, or did you guys also have to hire like your version of like an OM right at a dental office?
So yeah, I hired a general manager. The first general manager that I hired legitimately went psycho. So it's actually fun. That's actually a funny story too. So my office manager, her husband has worked in the food service industry for 25 years. And he like, when Chipotle was first opening up, he would go to all the different Chipotles and open them up. And so when I was going to start this, she's like, yeah, he's done this, this, and this. So like, oh, dude, does he want to come? And,
yeah,
he was
sounds like a good person to have.
Doing the food service for that. And at this time, and I was like, this sounds like something that'd be right up his alley. Do you think he would want to do that? She said, yeah, I think that would be right up his alley. And then like about 6 months in, and the place was just being built. So we were just like going through, okay, we got to design a menu. You know, how's the service going to work? Like there's not really many of these concepts out there. Like I would consider it kind of like a Top Golf, you know, it's like entertainment and food, or it's like a kind of like, I guess the older version would be like a bowling alley, right? So it's like you're doing an activity, but you're also like there's food involved. So like trying to find out, oh, we're not going to do table service. Is it going to be counter service? And you know, and they're like, do they have to wait there until they get the food, or does like somebody bring it out to them, and so just like figuring all that stuff out and how we want that to look and stuff. So anyway, we get 6 months in with this guy, and then out of the blue one day he emails me and he's like, I know that you're trying to hire this lady named, I can't even remember the name that he used, but behind my back. And oh, I remember it was because we were at a beer tasting. We were trying to like trying out, like we have a self-serve beer wall. It has like 14 taps, and you just like you get a card and then you go and you can serve yourself beer. And so we were like doing a beer tasting, and we're like, what beers do we want on the wall? And so there was an amber beer there, and so we're like, oh, I think we like the amber beer the best. Well, he's like, in this email, he's like, I know you've been trying to hire Amber behind my back, and I saw her in the parking lot while we were doing that, and she was listening in on the conversation. Like, what are you talking about? There's nobody. What are you like? He legitimately had like a schizophrenic episode, and then like he ended up leaving his wife.
Oh,
he ended up, which is my office manager, and it was just this big crazy ordeal, and then now he's like homeless on the street. Basically, he just like went schizophrenic and just like left. His kids are two kids are adults now, but yeah, that was one.
Geez, so is your
crazy.
OM still there at your dental office?
Yeah, she's still there. She's like, yeah, like.
See, that's cool, because like for me, every time we've hired, and I don't know why like continue to do it, but like there's been a few times where like you'll bring in like, I don't know, an assistant, and she's like, oh, my daughter wants to work, or you bring in someone like my mom wants to work, or whatever, cousin. And I'm always like, okay, well, you can't ever find help in dental anyway, so I'm like, sweet, okay, a free person, I don't have to go on Indeed again and like check another ad. So you're like, yeah, I'll hire you. Yeah. And then every time when one of them leaves, the other one leaves after like 2 or 3 months.
Oh,
like it's a pack. And even I like, I tell them this, and I know that the answer is like not going to be.
You convince yourself that this is going to be the exception. Like one of them is going to be fine. If the other one leaves, it'll be fine. It won't be disruptive. Yeah, right. Yeah,
no, it never works. So it's, and I even tell them that like, this isn't a thing where like, you know, if one of you leaves, the other one isn't going to, no, we're different people. We're separate. And I was like, and then I'm like, why do I even say that? Because I know they're going to leave. Like, it's just dumb.
It's a package deal. Yeah.
So no, she's stuck with me, and she's awesome. I love her to death.
That's good.
That was
so then,
a crazy thing. So anyway, but I hired another lady who used to run. She didn't have any restaurant experience, but she was like the assistant GM of a Toyota dealership. And so, she had business chops, and so I've hired her, and she's a badass too. Like, she works 120 hours a week. She's there all the time. She's trying to make it work. She's awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better from her. And but the restaurant business is so freaking tough, dude. The margins are like razor thin.
Really?
Yeah, it's not like you're doing a crown for $1,500 and like 30 minutes of work, right? Yeah. I mean, right.
Yeah. It's like, I got to sell for $1,500. I got to sell, I got to sell $904 beers. It's like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay. Question for you though, right? Because we did the startup journey, right? And you take out a loan, right? And then a lot of times in the beginning, you don't have a lot of patients coming in as a startup, so you can't hire necessarily like an OM, like you're the OM, right, as the dentist, or you can hire like one assistant usually, or you don't even have a hygienist because you don't have enough. How does it work in the restaurant world? Because it seems like from what you've described, it's way more labor intensive on the front end. Like you have to have that teams.
You have to have like servers and the cooks
but then you're also starting from scratch, so you're not coming in like with cash flow. So like, how does it work?
A lot of freaking money. Yeah, I'm pumping money into it nonstop. Like I'm doing dentistry just to like keep this place open right now. I mean, it's doing okay. Like, but like I said, we're built up just before this place is going to be actually like a hub. So like there's an apartment complex going in literally right next door that's like 300 units, but it's still a year out. And it's just, and we were like the first tenants in this like complex too. And so there was like a Starbucks that went in right before us, and then like a Mod Pizza that was there that opened like the doors like maybe 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 months before we opened our doors. And so, but like the rest of it was all under construction for the last year. So finally there's like one tenant that's still under construction, but all the rest is like built out now. So, but yeah, just, it's a little bit easier in the practice because you're part of the payroll of the practice. In this, I'm not. So I have to hire somebody for myself to take that place. But still, I still am putting 40, 80 hours a week in trying to run the business and figure out, what's the right mix of food, or what's the right mix of beer that we got to have, or, what, like, how does the menu, like, just how do you get pickleball players to eat food? Because they're just coming, we kind of assumed like that the pickleball players would also eat at the restaurant, and that's pretty much not the case. Like the hardcore pickleball players are just there to play pickleball, and that's it, and then they go home. I'm trying, and I didn't want to build a pickleball club just for that reason. Like I wanted this to feel like it's the backyard for the neighborhood. Like this is where you come, you hang out with your friends, you drink beer and play pickleball. Like that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to build up. But I also need people who are pickleball addicts to fill up the courts also. So just trying to find that balance. And I think we're getting there. It's getting super close, but it is just like, we just had freaking property taxes come up this last month, and it's like, oh, okay, that's you owe us $30,000, and you're just like, oh my god. So me and my partner are like, all right.
So I think what you guys need to do then is, how in the dental offices they were like, put those aroma scent things that are nice. Maybe around the pickleball courts, you guys just need to have like scents of like
pretzels,
burger, or pretzel,
and like popcorn.
So
I'm hungry.
While they're like hitting the ball, they're like, that smells good.
Right.
Some subliminal stuff.
Yeah. Here's your free pretzel with your pickleball court.
Yeah.
And then they're thirsty, and then that's when they want to have their beer, right?
Yeah.
Just have free pretzels.
Yeah. And then business there is just so dependent on the weather too. Luckily, like, thank God we've had like a super nice spring. Like usually it's raining from October clear till June here. But this spring has been like, so the whole month of April was like pretty much sunny all the time. Had like maybe 5 days of rain in April. So that's helped us out tremendously, because like sales in the restaurant in the wintertime, the pickleball courts are always full because we're the only indoor pickleball courts. We have 6 indoor and then 5 outdoor. So in town, we're the only indoor pickleball courts. So the pickleball courts are completely full in the wintertime, but the restaurant is dead, dead, dead. Like we do $900 in sales a whole day in the restaurant. As soon as the sun comes out, though, the sales will go to like $4,000 in the restaurant. But just imagine like trying to buy food for a $900 day and staff for a $900 day, and then like go to like 4 times that volume, and then like you don't have enough staff, and so then you got to hire staff, and then like the next day it rains, and so you're all staffed up, and then it's like, oh, we're back to $800 that day, and you're staffed up for a $4,000 day. It's so freaking wild.
Well, like think about it too, like with our supplies, right? Like we complain and we're like, oh man, this thing has like a 6-month expiration, right? Like you get like bone graft or something. I mean, your stuff, it's like within days. So yeah, that's nuts. That's gotta be way tougher than what we have to deal with in dental.
Oh, it's tough. I don't wish it upon anybody. It's fun. Like I have fun, and it's like a super fun passion project, but it's still like, it's a hard business. I don't recommend getting into the restaurant business at all. So I don't know if I'm going to make money in 20 years. My labor for my office, including like the little salary that I pay myself that way, is like, maybe it like averages like $19,000 to $21,000 every 2 weeks or something, and for this business, it's like $40,000 every 2 weeks.
Oh, geez.
So just imagine how many hamburgers you have to sell to pay $40,000 in labor every 2 weeks. It's just
wow,
freaking crazy.
But I mean, it seems like what you're doing is you're trying to play the long game, right? Which is kind of what we did when we were doing our startups. Is you didn't necessarily pick an area that was already super mature. You tried to find somewhere that was going to grow. So I mean, I guess the thought is you're probably still in that stage. It's like a longer infancy stage, right? Because you're just, I mean, I guess it's just focusing on like the systems, getting everything down. So when like it does explode, like then you're ready to go. So, I mean, I guess, is that kind of your mindset with it?
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, I don't care if I make any money. Obviously I don't want to go bankrupt and like continue sinking money into the place, but I don't care if I make any money on it. I just wanted a cool place for my community to have. But I also don't want to like, lose everything that I have just to have a cool place. So
you're like, I could have just built you're like, I could have built a pickleball court in my backyard. Yeah.
Right. Right. If I would just build a pickleball court in my backyard and invite friends over, it'd be a lot less headache besides. Like I actually got into pickleball. I was like, oh, this would be a cheaper way to like than golf, because golf was like, I was getting super into golf and it was getting, like friggin' ridiculously expensive. New clubs every year and greens fees and stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna get into pickleball. I can play pickleball for free at the park, and I can get a $200 paddle, and I'm set for a while. And then I go and build a $5 million restaurant. Well, I didn't save any money.
Well, go big or go home, I guess. Hey.
Yeah. So then what's the so then at the pickleball court, you may have said it before, so you're getting revenue 2 ways. You're charging people to play, right, pickleball, and then if they eat as well.
Correct.
Yeah, what do you charge for the pickleball part?
So we have a membership. So we charge like, it's like $90 a month, and then you can play. That gets you like, we have things like open play. So with open play, you like come in and you just put your paddle in a line, and then you play with whoever's there. So your membership comes with free open play, or with your membership, you can rent a court, and the court, if you want to just like come with like 4 friends and just have a private court, then you can also do that. And you pay like $2 an hour per person to rent the court. But if you didn't want to be a member, you can show up to open play and you can pay $15. Or if you wanted to come with 4 of your friends and just have a pickleball court, like you rent it for $40 an hour, or like $10 a person, basically.
And it does that. So is that the part like between the restaurant and pickleball part of it? Does the pickleball, like what part I guess does better from like a revenue perspective?
See, the issue with only being a pickleball facility and that line of revenue is like it's finite because I only have 11 courts. In the wintertime, I only have 6. So there's not a huge upside in the pickleball revenue. So and that usually does like about $40,000 or no, between like $60,000 to $80,000 a month, the pickleball revenue. And then the restaurant, like in the wintertime, sometimes it does only 40,000. And then like in the summertime, we've done like 160,000 a month. So the upside is in the restaurant portion. Like you pretty much have unlimited upside in the restaurant portion, but the pickleball kind of just like there's a ceiling. You can't get any higher. I can't charge $300 an hour for a pickleball court or nobody's coming. So like once the pickleball courts are full, like that side's capped off.
Yeah, you can't like, it's not like in dental where you can be like, oh, I have this operatory and the hygienist is there and you're like, oh, well, you can upsell like fluoride or you can upsell this. Yeah, in pickleball, I guess there's not really much upsells. Whereas in restaurant part, I mean, yeah, that's probably, I would think, is it true too with restaurants? I've always heard that the liquor part of it or like the beer part is where like the margins are actually really good.
It just depends. Like, there's certain things where the margins are really good, and it definitely helps. Yeah, because liquor costs somewhere between like 20 to 20 to at the some of them are like at 30%, but we try to keep the liquor costs like between 20 and 30. It's just like it really is just like a dental practice. Like in a dental practice, they say you're supposed to have 30% labor, 30% like fixed costs, 30% variable costs, and like 10% profit. Like it's really should be like that in the restaurant business too. It should be, try to keep your labor at 30%, try to keep your food costs at 30%, try to keep your other fixed costs, rent and all the other those costs at 30%, and then you're supposed to get 10% profit. But labor just is a mother effort, and especially in Washington because like minimum like you have to pay a minimum wage, and minimum wage is also $18 an hour plus they get tips. So they're making like some of them are making 35, $40 an hour, and you're like so I mean that's good for them. I want them to make a lot of money, but
I feel like Colorado's turning into this. I feel like if you looked in terms of like who's the most progressive with like those type of laws, it's like California was always number one, and like I always heard like Washington was always like right behind or with them, and then I feel like now Colorado is kind of like getting into that little like zone, right, of like minimum wages going up. Like same thing with us, our costs for labor crazy expensive.
You can run the same business in Texas and you can pay the waitresses like $4 an hour, and then they get tips, and so now they're incentivized to work hard because all their money's coming from tips, whereas in here like they're already getting $18 an hour. So like that's a pretty decent wage for somebody who has no schooling, who's just like graduated high school or something. And now they're making $18 an hour just for showing up, and they don't, like the tips are just like a bonus. So it's really hard to just find like somebody who's like super motivated and wants to like work hard and like bust their ass. Most of them are like, they'll complain because it's slow.
No, but do you remember when like the guys at South Park they like redid Casa Bonita here in Denver, and I remember they came out and it was like in news articles where they had said, we're not gonna was it that they were gonna pay a high amount in like the wage and say like, but there's no tips.
Yeah.
So I think they tried doing that, and then I think that I don't know if that worked or it backfired. I think people got pissed because then they were like, well, now I'm not getting tips. And it's like, but we're paying you more. And so it's just like, you can't win.
Yeah.
I didn't even ask you this before, because where is 23 Kitchens located within Seattle? Are you in like Seattle area or what part of Washington?
So we're south of Seattle. We're in Lacey, technically Lacey, which is like Olympia, Washington was like the state capital, and Lacey are like, they like blend into each other. So yeah, Olympia, Washington, it's like about 45 minutes south of Seattle on I-5.
And is that area similar? Like I know in Denver, right? Like Denver's growing, and then it's just spreading out and spreading out. Is that how it's happening in Seattle too? Is just like these towns that are like 30, 45 miles out are just blowing up?
I think we're still a little bit far from Seattle. It still feels like King County is where Seattle is. It still feels like we're not, like we're just far enough away for like Seattle not to be swallowing us up. So it's still, Olympia is pretty progressive and liberal, and Lacey's kind of more conservative. And there's a huge military base like 5 minutes away, and so we get a ton of military families that live in town. So Lacey's kind of is pretty conservative, but then like this next door town is like Olympia's is pretty progressive, pretty liberal. And
well, nice. I mean, you've been to Washington once before. I have not been to Washington, but I feel like for like the 6 people that are listening to this, if any of them are in Washington, like support a local dentist, go to 23 Kitchens, right? Go play some pickleball. Yeah. I need to play because I grew up playing tennis a lot. So yeah, like but I have some friends who are good tennis players, and they said like they'll play pickleball. They just said the reason that they feel like it's popular is that it's just, the learning curve is not as hard as tennis, right? Like, is it true it's a little bit easier of a game to play?
So I've never played tennis. I mean, I don't think I've ever played tennis. I don't think I've hit a tennis racket before, like even like a match. I didn't really ever play ping pong. Like I just only have played pickleball. And the thing that's nice about pickleball is like, and I think the reason why it is popular and it's gaining popularity over tennis is because tennis, you have like maybe 3 hits before like somebody wins, and then there's like only 4 points in the game, right? So, and you maybe get like a rally of, at the most maybe 10 shot rally. Like a 10 shot rally is like a really long rally in tennis. Whereas like in pickleball, like you can get up to 30, 40, 50 shot rallies. And, I think it's just a little bit funner and more exciting because it's like the point's not over, like fireworks go off and the point gets like kind of really chaotic. So if you watch really high level pickleball, like at times it can be really boring because they're just like hitting it over the net, just like barely, but then like somebody just hits it just high enough and then they like start attacking and then they're like attacking and then like the point's not over for like another 10 shots. So I don't know. It's super addicting. When I first started and I was hooked after like the first time I went to the park. So if you're already busy, I don't recommend getting into pickleball because it'll take over your life.
Thanks. We appreciate having you on so we could actually like learn about like the restaurant industry.
Cool. It's so cool. Okay, we'll maybe not do that.
Yeah, I know. I think you might have convinced me not to do it in restaurant.
Yeah, we'll just come visit you and play some.
That one off the list.
We'll play some pickleball and have some beer next time we're in Washington.
Okay, anytime, guys. Come on up.
Cool.